Welcome back to the Heisman Trophy Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Huston. We are continuing our offseason exploration of the origins of elite athleticism. So far, we've talked to a variety of experts in this field, including head football coaches like Curt Cignetti and Lincoln Riley, Winter Olympians like Kristi Yamaguchi and Joey Cheek. We've talked to neuroscientists and journalists who cover this area. For this episode, we are once again talking to an Olympian, this time from the sport that I think is really the purest distillation of athleticism. I'm talking track and field, one of my favorite sports. And the athlete joining us today is Quincy Watts, who won 2 golds in Barcelona in 1992. The first came on the 400 meters in what was then an Olympic record time of 43:50. And his second gold came as the second leg on the men's 1,600-meter relay squad. That set a world record of 2 minutes, 54.29 seconds. That's a mark that stands to this day. But he's more than a gold medalist. He's also a highly successful track and field coach at USC, where a couple seasons ago he won the school's first outdoor title on the men's side since 1976. Pretty remarkable accomplishment given that USC is a private school. Indeed, USC joined Stanford as the only other private school to win a men's outdoor title in the last 40 years. So it's just really a tough thing for a private school to do. Oh, he also won the indoor title as well that year. So, Coach, congratulations on your success and welcome to the Heisman Trophy Podcast.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Sure thing. You were born in Detroit. It's not a place that is typically known for its track and field stars. What was it that originally drew you to the track?
Well, growing up in Detroit, I was a basketball player. I was really drawn to sports just in general, but the two sports that resonated with me was basketball. I didn't have much skill set, but I was very athletic. And I just enjoyed the game. Track and field, I didn't get involved in track in Detroit. I just love running around the block with my friends in the neighborhood. And I always came in 5th or 6th. I never won. But just the joy of running and competing, being a young kid, that was always fun to me. So Detroit was where athletics was a part of me and where it started. And then I moved to California, and with my father here, I was able to have someone spend some time with me, and I enjoyed the time with my father and playing basketball and learning about track. So it kind of, as I moved out here to Inglewood and I went to Taft High School, my sports in terms of me growing in sports and being introduced to sports started here in Inglewood and at Taft High School.
Great. Who first noticed you were fast? Was it a coach? Was it your dad? Was it some other kid that you finally beat?
It was funny. It was a combination of my PE teacher at Sutter Junior High School. When I moved from Detroit, I enrolled in Sutter Junior High School. I only had one semester there, and that was the spring semester. And so in PE, you just had I think the 50-yard dash, and then you also had like the 75-yard dash. Mm-hmm. My dad, he didn't really know what he was getting with me. We were just starting our relationship, for only maybe 3 or 4 months together here full time. So one day I came home from middle school and I said, "Hey, Dad, guess what? I broke the 50-yard dash record today." He was like, "Oh, wow, that's great, son. That's great." So, okay, cool. So then about a week later, we had a 75-meter dash contest as well at Sutter Junior High. My PE teacher was Mr. Hanley. And I broke the 75-meter dash school record. So I came home and I told my dad, I said, "Dad, guess what? I broke the 75-meter school record today." And then he jumped up and he said, "Look what the good Lord sent me." And so my dad was very into sports. He knew everything. He was very knowledgeable about sports. And from then on, it resonated with him that his son was doing something special. And at that point, he knew nothing about track. And he sought out people that knew a little bit about running and things of that nature. So that's how I kind of got involved with sports with my PE teacher. And then I enrolled in Taft High School. And after basketball, played basketball, and then, of course, track follows basketball. So I went out for the basketball team. And there was a guy named Kerry Sang who was the fastest runner at Taft High School. And Kerry was a senior. And in practice, I beat Kerry in some of the starts from like 0 to 30 or 40 meters. Mm-hmm. And one of the athletes, he went over to Coach Tom Stevens, which I love to death. He's since passed away, but he was a football coach at the time. And he went over to Coach Stevenson and said, "Hey, Coach, this freshman just beat Kerry." And he said, "Bring him over here." And so I came over to Coach Stevenson, and And he said, "Did you beat Kerry?" And I said, "Yes." He said, first thing he said, "Get out of my face, dog breath." I said, "What?" So that was his way of embracing his student athletes and things of that nature. But that was my introduction. I think when I first got noticed, my PE teacher, Mr. Hanley, if it wasn't for him and giving me an opportunity to compete on the blacktop, and then he took me to my first track meet, the Jesse Owens track meet, which was at Cal State LA, and I got second, and I was mortified. And then the other point was Coach Tom Stevenson and being a part of that TAP track team as a freshman and making an impression on him, and that kind of started my career at TAP, which was an awesome career and awesome journey there.
Was your dad also a good athlete as well? Was he fast?
He wasn't fast, but he could shoot the basketball. He was an excellent shooter. He had a natural touch. So, but he wasn't fast. But he loved basketball, and I think my mother played basketball as well. So both my parents they were basketball players, not at the high level or any level that we would recognize, but just pretty good athletes.
Got it. Do you think that maybe, I mean, they must have really been fighting over you over at TAP? Like football must have been like, hey, we need you over here for football. And right? It was a little bit of a fight for you between the coaches?
Well, I think the coaches, they actually understood that, again, I was a basketball player. I was all Valley for basketball. And being a pretty good track runner, the coaches, they kind of were all on the same page. Now, we don't want him to play football. Even Coach Tom Stevenson, I was begging my dad, I would like to play football because a lot of my friends play football. You know, when you're young, you kind of follow your friends. So, and I never played football before. But the coaches were kind of pretty on the same page in terms of this kid has a future in track and field. So they just let me focus on the two sports, basketball and track. But I really wanted to play football.
I saw an interview you did a while back where you said that you saw Carl Lewis in the '84 Olympics, and you said, "I'm going to win the gold medal." After seeing him, tell me about that story. Was he the one who really got you hooked into track?
Absolutely. First of all, my first impression and being introduced to track and field was when I went to that particular track and field meet. That was the Jesse Owens was the meet. The meet recognized Jesse Owens as the Jesse Owens track meet. And that was my first impression with track and field because obviously Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals. Well, you know, fast forward in '84, Carl Lewis was the next person that I saw win 4 gold medals. So when I saw that, and I was a sprinter at the time in the 100 and 200, I remember pointing at the TV and I told my dad, I said, "I'm going to win a gold medal, right? I'm going to win a gold medal." And my dad was like, you know, he was very impressed because I said it so matter of fact, and I just had a lot of self-confidence at that time. And it just resonated me that what Carl Lewis had, what he had done in the '84 Olympics and how he did it and how impressive it was. And that just was something huge in my young mind. It was very impressionable at the time. So yeah, that stuck out. And I told my dad, I'm gonna win a gold medal.
That prospect of winning the goal, of having that glory, of achieving something that so few people have done. You know, when you're 400's a hard race, and the 200, you know, all the races you run in track, it's tough. It's tough on the body. Was that something that was always hanging over you, like the gold medal's up there, and I'm going to get through this workout because, you know, if I get through this workout, it's going to get me one step closer? Or was that something you set aside for a long time?
I think, you know, I didn't accept the 400, to be honest with you. I was a 100 and 200 meter sprinter, state champion, and I was recruited for the 100 and the 200 in the country. I did very well on the mile relay, running 400 meter legs. And so with my height, I'm 6'3", and I was 6'3" in high school. Quite naturally, a lot of coaches thought that my future would be in the 400. But I didn't see my future in the 400 because that's too much of the paying business. So the 400 is the paying business. So I didn't see my future there. Mm-hmm. And I remember Coach Bush, he had Ernie Bullitt recruited me here at USC. And then Coach Bush had took over as the head coach when Coach Bullitt retired. And the first thing he said is, "I'm going to make you a 400 meter runner."
Well, he was famous. He was famous for his 400 meter runners, right?
Jim Bush? Yeah, very famous. Yeah. And I had no idea, and I was kind of naive because I never really followed the 400.
Yeah.
And being a basketball player, I was really kind of naive to track. So to your point, he had a great legacy of 400 meter runners. And when he approached me about becoming a 400-meter runner, I told him, I looked him straight in his eyes, said, I'm not running that event. I'm going to try football. That's how much fear I had in regards to running the 400.
Right.
And I went and tried football, and I enjoyed it. I made some great relationships being a part of the USC football team. Let me clarify that I tried football. I was on the scout team. I didn't play for USC, but I was a part of the program, and I really enjoyed the relationships and all the different teammates that I met from football. After football season, I came back to the 400, and I came back to track. And then Coach Bush said, "You ready for the 400?" And I said, "Well, I guess so. I don't have a choice." So I ran the 400, and that's how my journey began in the 400, coming out of football and accepting the pain business with Coach Jim Bush.
Mhm.
And after that, I ended up becoming an NCAA champion and two-time gold medalist.
Now, the other thing was that also you got a lot of injuries early in your career, right? For some
Yeah,
reason, the 100, 200, these are different types of stresses on hamstrings and all the different muscle groups.
yeah.
So you were having a hard time. I think it was always your hamstring, right? Wasn't that always the
Yeah,
issue?
yes.
Yeah.
I have one hamstring injury my senior year in um, high school. I had never been hurt before, and that particular injury kind of followed me through college, my first 3 years. And I think just immaturity on my part with my preparation. I'm not going to blame anybody else. I just looking back on it, it was just me. And when I became a little more serious and a little more self-disciplined with my sport, then I started having some success in the sports. But those hamstring injuries were due to not stretching and things of that nature that could have been prevented. And because I didn't take those things serious at the time, I had lingering hamstring injury year after year after year. So my start was very injury riddled my first 3 years here at USC.
This is Archie Griffin, 1974, 1975's Heisman Trophy winner, and you're listening to the official Heisman Podcast.
Explain to our listeners what the 400 meters is like. I think a lot of people out there, they just think, oh, you just go run fast. Explain the strategy and the difficulties of the 400 meters and the things you can't do and the things you really need to remember as you're going through the strategies of that race.
Yeah, well, the 400 is looked at as the hardest race in track and field. It has been looked at in that particular light for years and years on end. Uh, Reason being, it's not a sprint, but it's the fastest. Um, you're going. I'm trying to explain it. It's the most painful event ever, and the 800 meter can argue that, but it's almost a sprint from your first step to your last step, but also there's some patience there. There's some poetry patience there going down the backstretch. When
Hmm.
I say poetry patience, it means that basically you're going as fast as you can, but you're trying to be as efficient as you can. And at the same time, you want to spread your energy out throughout the whole 400 meters. It's very difficult. And the best way to describe it, imagine you giving everything you have, and you know you can't take another step, right? But then you look up and you have to run another 100 meters, right?
Yeah.
So imagine running to the point you cannot take another step. But then you look up and that's when the fight begins. And
Hmm.
that's a really great way to describe the 400 because when you look up and you feel you don't have anything left, there's another 100 meters to go, and you have to run 100 meters with everything you have. And that's a perfect way to describe it. It's not a fun race, but it's one of the toughest races in track and field. You're in the pain business, and once you accept that you're in the pain business, there's success. In the 400, if you don't accept you're in the pain business, it's going to be a lot of pain.
There's they talk about the elephant on the back, the piano on the back. Was it the final curve? Is that where you feel it the worst?
I was going to use that analogy, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to date myself. But during that time, they say the monkey gets on your back, or the gorilla is on your back, or the bear is on your back. So in that sense, imagine running 300 meters, and then you have to carry a grizzly bear the next 100 meters, and not just carry the grizzly bear, but run with that grizzly bear on your back the next 40 meters. That that particular description just describes how your legs feel and the lactic acid that's in your body, and it feels like you're in quicksand every step for 100 meters.
And that's why a lot of runners they seem to kind of they sort of arch back, right, when they're overcompensating to try to get through that pain as they
Yeah,
come
well,
down the
the one
stretch.
thing about track and field and in the 400 meter in any particular event, it's about technique, right? You practice and your sessions are all geared around making sure on the day that you have to perform that you can hold your technique.
Hmm.
And the biggest difference in the 400 meters, the last, 300 meters already ran, you have 100 meters to go. Uh, can you hold technique? And a lot of times you see people, they sway their shoulders back and forth, the head goes up, the head goes down. And to your point, people arch their back, and it's just something that naturally happens in fatigue and under stress when you're running. But the key is to try to be as efficient as you can and have the perfect technique and the best technique as you're slowing down in fatigue.
Yeah. Okay, so you come out of Taft High. You ran 10-3 100 meters, which if you run 10-3 100 meters in high school, you're going to be recruited by the big guys pretty much, especially back then, right?
Yes.
And so you come out and struggle the first 3 years, struggle to stay healthy. You finally, I think your junior year, you went into the 400, but senior year you're really dedicating, right? You're doing all the things you need to do, and you're starting to just tear it up. The times are getting lower and lower. You come out and you win NCs. You're over at NCs. The team finishes third. You're with Curtis Conway and Travis Hanna, who are also great football players as well.
Yes.
So you have a pretty interesting team out there for the Trojans, and it seemed like you were starting to. There's a sense of inevitability about you. That's the sense watching you during that time, watching you run, and someone who at the time I didn't know a lot about track and field, but I could see the confidence as you were running, and it seemed like as you went to each level, first NCs and then trials, it seemed that you were almost destined to win that gold. So I want to talk about the gold medal race in a second, but the part leading up to it, what was going on in your mind as you were, staying healthy, getting great results, winning NCs, so on and so forth? What were you feeling as you knew that down the road Barcelona was waiting for you, maybe?
I think throughout those first 3 years, I finally I had to sit down with myself. I had a conversation with myself. And, God had given me this DNA, has given me this talent. And I got to the point where I wanted to be successful. And the only reason why I went out for football because my two best friends, Curtis Conway and Travis Hanna, they were football players. And I wanted some kind of success. And we all know what it means to be a part of the USC football team. And that's success in itself. And so when I came out, when football was over that particular year, and I had the 1 year, and I ended up finishing second at NCAA's. In that particular year, as a junior, I had a hamstring pull again, but I still was able to finish second with no fall base and being with football. I had to sit down with myself and I said, okay, well, wait a minute. If I can do this, if I can get second with no fall base, what can I do if I put my mind to it? Right. So at that point, I had very spiritual. I had a talk with God, and I made some really check some boxes with God that take advantage of the talent that He had given me, and in doing that, I came with some boxes that I needed to change. And for me, the number one thing was um, I decided I decided to give everything I had to be all in and to operate with excellence and not be comfortable anymore. I was an athlete that was very comfortable being able to score high and compete at the highest level with not giving everything I had. And I reversed that. I operate with excellence every day my senior year. No matter what the day was, I operated with excellence. I gave everything I had with my coaches. I gave everything in the athletic training room, everything that it took to be a NCAA champion. That was the first hurdle. Become the best in the NCAAs. Once I became the best in NCAAs, Then the next hurdle was, okay, make the Olympic team, right? I made the Olympic team. I got third. And but I ran 43 seconds at the Olympic trials, which also gave me confidence, that I can actually make the team. Because I ran 43 in the semifinals, that I could make the team. I was so tired though. I was so tired from the collegiate season. And I was also tired from the U.S. trials, because at that particular time I ran, I think, like 20 to 25 races in 1 month, where the pros only had 3 races under their belt. So I was
Right.
very tired, and I almost didn't make the team. The reason being, I was so tired in the finals when the starter said, "On your mark." When I came to the set position, I was just so tired I couldn't even move my legs. So when the gun went off, everybody went off first, and I kind of went off a delayed. But then there was a second gun, which meant there was a false start by another athlete.
You're right.
But that woke me up. That woke me up and said, "Okay, you got another chance."
Second chance.
So I ended up placing third at the trials. Okay, mission accomplished. You made the Olympic team. So placing third at the trials did not deter me or distract me or made me think that I was not going to win the Olympic gold medal. I just needed some rest. I know me. I know myself. And I knew I was going to win the Olympic gold medal. I knew I was destined to win the gold medal. I made that commitment to win the gold medal with my father when I watched the '84 Olympics, and I said, I'm going to win a gold medal. No matter what I was going through, the injuries, I had a great support here at USC. My athletic trainer they were always wonderful. So I never felt like I wanted to be anywhere else or anything like that. I was frustrated. I just needed an opportunity to get healthy. So in doing that, once I made the team, several track and field is really big, and there's a circuit, and really track and field, you make your living on the European circuit. So there were several meets that wanted me after the trials to come to their track meets and run. And you're paid and to run at these particular meets. I felt that I want to forego the money, and I need to get some rest. And I said, if I could just get some rest, I'm gonna go to Barcelona and I'm gonna win a gold medal. I just need rest from the collegiate season. So I stayed home for about 4 weeks, and I rested, and ended up going to Barcelona. Once I got to Barcelona, I took a run on the beach, and I knew I was gonna win a gold medal. I know I was going to win a gold medal from my first step to my last step in the finals. I know I was going to win a gold medal. After the semi-final run, I think I broke the Olympic record. I knew I was going to win a gold medal. So for me, I always felt I was destined. And even in destiny, there's some adversity, right? And in this chair that I'm in right now as a head coach here at USC, I try to use my experiences to really motivate and uplift my student athletes that adversity is not a bad thing. It's just an opportunity to get better. And you need adversity to be the best. Any athlete, I tell my athletes, I say, and that any great athlete, they've lost. It wasn't perfect. It took a lot of losses to become great. And it takes a lot of losses to become great. And so for me, I had some losses, I had some adversity, but nothing was going to stop me from what I'd already manifested as a teenager while winning the Olympic gold medal. And that came through. And the great thing about that was when I was on the podium, I had a great opportunity to just reflect on my father and everyone who had touched my life to this point, right? You don't get to the top of the podium by yourself. You don't win a gold medal by yourself. And I looked at my father, his commitment. I looked at my tutors, their commitment, the teacher at Taft High. I really, along the way, created some great, great relationships, right? I created a really great village. And a village to get me to the Olympic podium and the top of the podium. And
Takes a village.
And when I say a village, because so many people, they really supported my father in what he was doing and what he was pouring into me. Right. And so at that particular moment, standing on the podium, it was just a time for me to reflect my journey and of how did I get here.
Yeah. What do you remember about going into that final? Like, so uh, they walk you out, got the stadium, beautiful Olympic Stadium, Barcelona. What was it hot? It was nighttime, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like it was beautiful though. It was around in the evening, late evening. One of the things I remember is in the warm up area. I remember finishing my warm up, and they drive you over, and it's like a 20-minute drive to the stadium, and then you have about 30 minutes that you have to maintain. And I remember just meditating, and I was on my back, I was on my backpack, and I was meditating, going through my breathing, meditating my routine. I already knew what I need to do. I already knew it was over. I was the Olympic champion. I just kept meditating, and then you have some thoughts that come in, and then through meditation,
What kind of
you honor
thoughts?
you
What
honor
kind?
those thoughts. You
Yeah.
have thoughts that come in like, wow, it's like the stadium is packed, and are and it's, okay, yes, the stadium is packed,
TV,
and then
camera in your
I breathe
face.
that out. I breathe it in, I breathe that out,
Yeah.
right? Well, yeah, in your quarterfinal, you didn't have the best race in your quarterfinal. Okay, right? I didn't have my best race in my quarterfinal, but then I come with the positive thoughts. But in my semifinals, I made that correction and I set an Olympic record. So,
Hmm.
so you breathe in, you honor the positive thoughts, and you also honor the negative thoughts.
Hmm.
And in doing that, but you blow those negative thoughts out, right? And you keep having self affirmation about all the positive things and why you're here and then I always look at positive corrections. I never look at negative things.
Hmm.
And although they're going to come in, although they're going to be different energies that try to pull you off of your game and try to pull you away from your goal and try to pull you away from the present moment of being present because the opportunity is now.
Hmm.
Um, I always go to positive corrections. Okay, and I always look at what I can do in this particular race, in this particular moment. What's the correction here? And as I'm meditating, I fell asleep. I fell asleep. I remember one official, she called, okay, men's 400. And I woke up and, I woke up and I had a very great sense of calm.
You were rested.
I
You
was
needed
very
to
rested.
rest.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was calm. I was rested.
Yeah.
Very great sense of calm. I was in a meditative space where nothing was going to interrupt me. And as they walked us out, the stadium erupted. And I remember not looking to the right, not looking to the left. I couldn't even, the people in the stands, they were all blurry, right? I was just totally locked in on walking down to the start. Um, and I knew from the moment uh, the starter said set, I knew there was not one person that's going to beat me today.
Hey guys, this is Barry Sanders, the 1988 Heisman Trophy winner, and you are listening to the official Heisman Trophy Podcast.
When you're down in the blocks, so are you trying to keep your mind clear? Are you saying don't forget to do this, or do you have mantras that you're reaffirming yourself with? What's going on in your head when the gun's up?
Well, great question. I think everybody is different. For me, me going to meditation in the staging area cleared my mind.
Hmm.
So when I got in the blocks, I was not thinking of anything. I had already ran the race in my mind several times. I knew exactly what I needed to do at each point of the race. So I wasn't talking with myself in the blocks. I didn't have any mantras with myself in the blocks. I was already in a clear state. I just need this lady to fire the gun so I can go win a gold medal.
Get this over with.
Let's get this over
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
So and I remember just being in a very flow-like state down the backstretch. I saw everything.
Yeah.
Okay, there was
Did it slow down? Everything slowed down a bit.
the time slowed down.
Yeah.
I watched the previous Olympic champion, the reigning Olympic champion, Steve Lewis, a
Yeah.
great friend of mine, great competitor at UCLA. I knew everybody that was in the race. And as we're going down the backstretch, I see everything. I see Steve Lewis. I could tell his cadence picked up. And I
Hmm.
said, okay, he's for real today. And at the end of the day, I said, okay, I'm going to win this race. But one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to let this Bruin beat me. So we have fun with that. But
You weren't the only one thinking. Weren't the only one thinking that. I'm pretty sure.
I'm the only one thinking that. Whatever I do, I'm going to win the gold medal, and I'm not going to let this Bruin beat me.
Right.
So we have a lot of fun from a USC standpoint.
Yeah.
But I remember watching. I remember seeing his movement. I saw everybody movement, and I remember responding to his movement.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you had lane 5. You had lane 5, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I was 4 or 5, and I think Steve was out there like lane 7.
Yeah.
And being a great Olympic champion, he's already an Olympic champion, returning Olympic champion, just a great athlete, a great runner. I had to make sure I kept my eye on him because I did not want him to steal the race from me. Right. Yeah. So I just moved a lot earlier and a lot faster than I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I was prepared to.
Yeah. You mentioned the meditation thing. Was that something? When did you start meditating, and who turned you on to that? Kind of the whole idea and doing it in an effective way that really helped you?
Well, I think nobody really told me and taught me meditation. It was just something that I did on my own, right? And it's just something that when I was nervous, I would come to a relaxed state and I would just meditate. And I may have heard it somewhere on how to meditate in terms of even if it's negative, don't try to block it, let it in, and then just also let it go out. You know, I think the worst thing you can do as a young athlete is there are going to be negative things that come in your mind, and you have a vision, and there are going to be things that are coming and trying to block your vision. And the worst thing you can do is try to block that out and act like it's not there. No, let it come in. Self affirmations, let it go out. Right. So for me, it was something that I naturally did, but I think along the way, just understanding that I love meditation, I started learning a little bit more about meditation and things of that nature. But it was just something that I've always used, and it's something I used as a kid. I didn't know I was using it as a kid. You know, I could block things out, I can compartmentalize certain things, and I can stay focused on the task at hand. For me, it wasn't. There wasn't a one moment when meditation was introduced to me.
Got it. Do you think you could have been as successful as you were had you not gotten into that? The meditation and learning how to get into that flow state. Could you have been? I don't know. There's different people have different approaches, right? Could you have taken another approach and still been as successful? Do you think?
I do. I think because I was always driven. I'm very competitive, and I probably would have found another way to control my environment to be successful. And there's more than one way to skin a cat, obviously. Mine was meditation. But even before meditation in high school, I was very successful just because I was driven. I wanted to be the best, and at the same time, I have a great work ethic. So I think I would have found another way, right, to win that gold medal that I said I was going to win when I was 12 years old.
One way or another, right?
One way or another.
Yeah. The 400-meter record at the time was Butch Reynolds, 43:29. Was there a part of you that wanted to break it too, or did you not just want to get the gold?
Yeah, I wanted to break the record, but the number one thing is get the gold. World records are always broken, right? But once you're a gold medal, you're always a gold medalist, right? And nobody can ever take that away from you. And that was kind of my rationale between a gold medal versus a world record. The priority is a gold medal. Go win the gold medal. And then the next priority is there are always going to be opportunities to break the world record. Every year there's an opportunity to break the world record. But you don't have every year there's not an opportunity to win gold.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. When you crossed that finish line and it was real, the gold, the Olympic record, did that feeling of getting that match what you had imagined it would be all those years? Or was it something else entirely?
It was something else entirely. It didn't really match what I thought the feeling would be. I was extremely tired, and I think for me, and I've always operated with calmness. I think the first thing that came to my mind was trying to find my father in the stands, right? And I found my father, and we hugged. And just looking in his eyes and just understanding, and we understood the journey, right? And it was a moment of stillness, where we were in our own world. And being in our own world, first thing I thought about was getting off the plane in Detroit. Getting off the plane in Los Angeles, flying from Detroit, and he's here, and then we went to the store, and my first moment, getting some potato chips and a soda at that time, to where we are now. hugging in Barcelona, and I just won a gold medal. So for me, I've always it wasn't like an aha moment or anything like that. I was in a place where I was destined to be, and I won the highest pinnacle in my sport that you could win, which was a gold medal, and I was right there with my father, and we're humble people. We're and we just embraced that moment as a moment of wow, our journey made it, and it was just that simple.
Sounds pretty awesome. You had the gold under your belt, and then you go back with the 4x4. I think Steve Lewis is on that squad, right? And that was Valmont. I can't remember who the other one was.
Andrew Bauman, who is currently the head coach at Maryland, myself, and our third leg was Michael Johnson.
Yeah, this was like the golden age of 400-meter sprinters.
Correct.
For sure. Yeah,
it was the golden age of 400-meter runner, and it was me coming out of me being the youngest of everyone, and coming out of USC and being with these great 400-meter runners. It definitely was a challenge, but I was excited to be a part of this quartet.
Yeah, you were the second leg, which is typically, at least in the short sprints, that's we put the fastest guy on the second leg, and then was it you had a great split for I can't remember what it was. It was a great split, 43-10, was it something like?
Yes, 43-1, correct.
Yeah, and was it just one of those things where you've already got your gold, so it's like you nothing to lose, just go balls out and not have to worry about anything, or was there a different mentality, like you don't want to disappoint the team kind of thing, or was it just more like I'm just going to go run crazy?
Well, the year before, at the World Championship, Great Britain beat the U.S. in the 4x4, and they wore these T-shirts, and it said we kicked their butts. So they had the nerve to wear these T-shirts in 1992. So we said, okay. So the head coach came. I was supposed to run anchor, but the head coach came and said, Quincy, I want you to blow it out on second. I definitely disapproved because I wanted to run anchor. Because all my life I wanted to anchor the U.S. team in the 400, right?
Yeah.
But he was I had a lot of respect for Coach Melrose, and at the time he was an Auburn coach, and the way he approached me and his professionalism and how he approached me, I agreed to run second leg, and I understood. Again, I'm a basketball player. I'm a team player, so whatever you need me to do to play my part, I think that's what I bring to the table in terms of just my experience and my competitiveness and my success in track and field. So when Coach came and said, I need to put you at second leg, even though I disagreed, I took one for the team.
Mm-hmm.
We because they wore those T-shirts, we kicked their butts. I went all out. I went all out, and it was exciting. It was just a very exciting moment. There's a lot to go. There's a lot going into once you win the Olympic gold medal, and then you're on a high. And then there's a huge letdown because that race is over, and everything that just your body and everything, something that you've trained for all your life.
Yeah.
And so now you got to get ready for the 4x4. So now you got to kind of get yourself back up and get your energy back up. But the thing that was great is once you see those other three guys there, and then once you have the USA on your chest, at that particular moment, you're at your best and your energy is where it's supposed to be. And it's just a great time competing for the U.S. And we knew we could break the world record. And subsequently, we went on the next year with a different squad, and we broke the world record again. But just a great moment, and I'm just so appreciative of the opportunity.
Sure, and you're still part of that world record mark for sure. 254, 29, I believe. So let's fast forward a bit. You did some coach. I think you went back to your alma mater over at TAP, did some coaching there. Now you're at USC. USC was the greatest track power of old, and the times change and the difficulties of winning with at a school that costs $60,000, whatever it is, $70,000 now, where you can't split up scholarships as much. it's a big challenge for someone to come in, but you came in and you won the national championship in 2025. And that's, I think I never thought a USC men's team would win a championship again. So it's an incredible accomplishment. What did you do as a coach, or what did you see and take from your experience as an athlete? What did you bring to the table as far as getting these guys? Because you were also a very heavy sprinting team, sprint heavy team that won it. So what was it that you brought as a coach that you had learned and was able to translate over to these athletes?
That you win with balance, right? You win with balance. As an assistant coach here, USC, we won 2 national championships on the women's side. The women have 18 scholarships, so it's a lot easier to win on the women's side if you can put the team together. But how we won on the women's side was very sprint heavy, as you mentioned. And what I've learned, and just not just as an assistant coach, when I was an athlete here as well at USC, we didn't have the balance, so we always had to win a championship on the sprint side. As an assistant coach, we won a lot of our championships on the sprint side. We didn't have that much balance. So looking at the coaching in this coaching seat, I wanted to say, okay, how can I be? I want to be a great coach. I don't want to be a good coach. Just like as an athlete, I wanted the pinnacle is the gold medal. As a coach and as a head coach, the pinnacle is the national championship. And I want to be known as a coach that can put a team together. That's what I'm most proud of, is coming in and looking at the team and not having the team and having 12.6 scholarships and saying, okay, how can I put this thing together strategically so that we can be in position to win a national championship?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to put this team together with athletes that can do more than one event at a high level, right? Because it's how do you score high and scoring opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Scoring opportunities are increased with athletes that you recruit that can do multiple events, and they're the best of the best, or they're at least at the top of the NCAAs. And in doing that, we also entered this whole NIL space, right? This whole NIL space, and it was new to us all. So just being able to navigate that particular space and being able to get more bodies in because of that particular space, we were able to increase some depth on both the and the women's side. Right. So with that, but looking at the NIL space and this new space and how it was helpful for USC, and then also looking at how I could strategically, through my experiences as a athlete, not winning a national championship, but I won an individual championship, but I'm a team player. And then as an assistant coach, having the opportunity to win 2 national championships on the women's side, okay, I try to take all those experience and build a team that even if we don't score high, we will follow success, because no matter what, USC, we're in the top 5 in scoring in everything we do. Mm-hmm. And that was the case. We didn't have one national champion for the indoor championship or the outdoor championship. But what we did do, we put a team out there that was the best team in the country all over the track. So you look at the field events, you look at the when I say the field events, you look at the long jump. We had you look at the throws event. Then you look at the high jump area on the apron. Then you look at the sprints going down the straightaway. Then you look at the oval, right? How we scored, and we had positioned ourselves that even if it wasn't perfect, there was a great opportunity that we could be fighting for a national championship.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm really curious. You've now coached sprinters at all levels. But I want to know, what do you think separates an elite athlete from merely a very good one? Every year there's you get a new crop of sprinters and track athletes coming out of high school ranks, and they've got these great marks.
Yes.
Right. I was looking at Tate Taylor, right? Down in San Antonio, just ran 1992, just ran under 20 seconds. First time high school kid's done that, right? And how much of it is body, how much is mind, and how much of it is work that nobody watches?
This is a combination of all three. That's a great question. I would say the body, you got to have DNA. Tate Taylor is phenomenal, right? That's DNA. The mind. Look at how mentally tough this young man is. He's out there with the pros and he's winning, right? I look at a guy like a guy like Noah Lyles when he was in high school as well.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Norman, Ry Benjamin, my guys. And all of them have the same thing, right? They were excellent high school runners, And outside of Tate, who was still in high school, who was still transitioning from high school, Noah Lau, the Michael Norman, the Ry Benjamin, these are guys who, when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to cheerlead. You don't have to cheerlead them to win.
Mhm.
These guys wake up in the morning and they want to win more than you as a coach. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. And in my journey, I look at athletes. Talent is talent. There's going to be. We've all seen phenomenal talent that never materialized because of certain things. Certain boxes weren't checked. And then we have phenomenal talent that did materialize because all the boxes were checked in terms of being great. So excellence on one side checks all the boxes. Being comfortable on the other side unchecks the boxes, and that's where you see talent that
Mhm.
probably was better than or equal to the other talent, the other talents that you've seen on your journey, but they checked all the boxes.
Right.
So excellence over being comfortable is what I've seen is the differential and the difference maker in being the best or being regarded as the best or having longevity in the sport where your name is always mentioned as being one of the greatest athletes in the particular event area that you're competing in. And on the other side, you have athletes who are just as talented. And you say, oh, wow, this is the next Michael Norman. Oh, this is the next Ry Benjamin. Oh, this is the next XYZ. And then you say, but they don't want to check the boxes,
Mm,
right? They'd rather be more comfortable.
got it.
And being comfortable does not yield success. But self-discipline and checking all the boxes, right? And choosing excellence every day. Choosing excellence every day, right? Every day over being comfortable and choosing excellence every day on, well, I can do that tomorrow. Choosing excellence over day, well, no. There is no tomorrow. Excellence, right? Winning doesn't care. Winning doesn't care if you're sick. Winning doesn't care if you don't feel like doing it, right? But excellence every day and building a great foundation, I've known is the separation. It is the separator between the great ones and the ones who missed the boat.
Interesting. You mentioned guys like Michael Norman and Ry Benjamin. As a coach, you kind of have to know when to press yourself and when to just get out of the way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to understand personalities. And these two guys were like some amazing Ferrari. Like we used to, with Michael Norman and Ry Benjamin at practice, coaches would stop and just watch these guys go around the track. Because it was like the most beautiful thing that you can see, the most entertaining thing that you can see, right? Because you have these two Ferraris that are going at it. They're going at it. But these two Ferraris are built different. Michael Norman, I could be very hard on Mike. I can be very hard on him, right? The correction piece for the workout, I can be very hard on him. And he understood that and he resonated and he responded with that. Is a different approach. Ry's an intellect. Ry wants to have more of a conversation in a very respectful way. And I enjoyed talking with Ry because I could just say, okay, big fella, this is what we need to do, right? And I understood Ry's personality. And Ry, if you talk to Ry like a man and you pulled him over, Ry will respond. He responded to that type of teaching and that type of communication, right? But both of them, and Ry would be very upset if Michael beat him in a rep. Right? The two best friends, that's what made it special. But they had two different personalities. And you have to understand it as a coach in dealing with high-end and high-profile, high intensity and high-maintenance athletes. You got to understand the personality and the communication piece there. And for me, it's very easy for me to be in this seat because I've done what they're trying to do. And I understand communication. I know what I wanted, right? And I wanted somebody to be very tough on me. I responded to that. And I also wanted somebody to say, come here, big fella, right? I remember a football coach named Bobby April. When I first tried out for football, he tapped me on my helmet. He said, big fella, you're going to be good at this one day, big fella. You keep on fighting out here, big fella. I just had a terrible day. But I had the DB coach, and Coach April went on to be a special team coach, I think, with the Cincinnati Bengals and maybe Baltimore Ravens. But he came and tapped me on my head and said, big fella. You got this, big dog. And that the way he said that, he kept me built up on a day that wasn't going perfect. So I utilized what I've been taught and how people treated me and how people coached me up. And I utilize that in this particular space that I'm in right there, because in this particular space that I'm in today, because everybody is different. You got to understand the egos, and you got to understand at the end of the day, you want to build somebody up to keep them going in the direction of their goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to lose these athletes as well. So you got to be mindful of that already. The wrong criticism and or how you criticize with your constructive criticism, which should be constructive, you can lose an athlete also. Because in this day and age, also, a lot of these athletes are very soft. Be very honest. They're very soft. I don't mind saying it. I'm not going to change my era, my philosophy, all right, because I know how to win. I'm proven in this space, right? So I'm going to challenge you, right, to everything that we talked about in the recruiting process in your home visit. If I told you I'm going to give you everything to be a champion, an NCAA champion, a world champion, an Olympic champion, I'm never going to take a day off. So when I see you taking a day off, I'm going to challenge you here at USC. Now, some people can handle it, and then some people get their feelings hurt. But I'm not here to be your friend. I'm never going to show up at your dorm. I'm never going to hang out with you. I got one purpose: graduate from USC and honor my word that I told you that I would honor in terms of your goals and what you want to accomplish here at USC.
Well, Coach, it's very rare for someone to be an Olympic champion and also a national champion coach. It's not a common thing for great athletes to become great coaches, but you pulled it off. We really appreciate you sharing your tremendous knowledge, your experience as a track athlete, and your tremendous success, both as an athlete and a coach, and taking the time out of your busy day to share that with us. So thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely, Chris. I think, Chris, in closing, I just want to say that I've accomplished a lot as an athlete, but my biggest challenge and my biggest goals are here as a head coach and a director of track and field at men's and women's and cross country here at USC. This is the challenge, and I'm most proud of the 2 national championships and our women's being runner-up than any gold medal. This space is a very tough space, as you mentioned, because of most successful athletes, they don't have the patience to be successful with others and change lives. So I learned that at an early age, and I'm most proud of where I am today. And I look to continue building championship moments, championship teams, and championship quality young men and women here at USC.
Awesome. We look forward to seeing that. We wish you the best of luck going forward, and thanks for coming on the show.
No, thanks for having me, Chris. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye, on.
The Heisman Trophy Podcast is now year-round, every Wednesday during the college football season and monthly during the offseason. This show is produced, edited, engineered, and hosted by the Heisman pundit himself, Chris Huston. The audio portion of the podcast, as well as transcripts, is available on all streaming services, while full video interviews and clips can be found on our YouTube channel as well as on TikTok. Special thanks to the Heisman Foundation, its CEO Jeff Price and Vice President Tim Henning for their support. We'd love your support too, so be sure to like and subscribe. For comments, criticism, and feedback, you can reach us at pod@heisman.com.